So in this unboxing, you can see we have quite a few things in here. So for starters, we have a syringe of 10 cc's of Speed Loop weight 8. I've had my 20 cc syringe of weight 6 for a while now, and it's just starting to run out. So I figured this was my time to try out something new. And so you can see the syringe actually kind of broke, but I'll glue it back on, and it should still work perfectly fine. So I'm excited to try this out. We also have here a Speed Stacks bag, and we also have a considerably large stack of stickers. So right off the top here, we have some outline stickers for the GTS 2. Here's a set for the Fisher Cube V2, and these are actually for my slim Fisher Cube, and if you haven't seen my video on that, I highly recommend you guys to go check out that tutorial. We also have a set of outline stickers for the magnetic Cube. This is a fitted set for the Yushin Little Magic. And then lastly is a set of outline stickers for the Moyu Magnetic Pyraminx. So yeah, all these look super cool. I'll have a fun time putting these on, but that is that for these stickers. And then onto the cubes here, you can see we have quite a few things. The Cubing Classroom Square-1, the Magnetic Yuxiao Pro, and then this one is a kind of throwback. This is the Shengshou Sujie 3x3, I believe it is. The YJ Star puzzle. This is the Dayan 2017 Zhanchi, and then lastly is the WuHua version 2. So I think we'll go ahead and get started with some of these older puzzles. So we'll just go ahead and open up this Sujie first. And so yeah, this is a pretty old puzzle, but I still wanted to go ahead and get it. Just because I feel like nowadays we're pretty spoiled with magnetic cubes. We don't really have to feel as concerned about working on our accuracy, and so I felt that if I were to get this, I would be a little bit more pressured to work on that myself. And so here is the Shengshou Sujie. Oh man, that just feels so nostalgic. I mean, yeah, the turning is honestly not too bad. But wow, what a throwback it is to turn this thing. Yeah, and this does have textured stickers, and it does help with the grip, and so these type of stickers is actually pretty nice to hold. But in terms of the actual turning, like I said, it's not that bad. It has a kind of clacky and crunchy sound to it. It's honestly kind of nice. But it does lock up just a little bit. Let's see the corner cutting. Not that bad. I'm not really too sure when this came out, but I just know that there wasn't really a lot of talk about it. But oh man, what a classic mechanism that is. Yeah, definitely nothing like today's cubes. Very, very nostalgic feeling 3x3. So if you're into that type of thing, definitely go for it. But anyways, let's go on to some of these other puzzles. So this is the YJ Puzzle Star. And this is also another one that I've actually been wanting for a while. It seemed like a pretty fun shape mod, but yeah, I just never got it. So here it finally is. And so yeah, that is pretty big. Definitely a lot bigger than I was expecting. But you can see these lines here, and so I'm thinking that should add a little bit more difficulty to solve, just because you have to differentiate a certain piece to its position. But yeah, let's just go ahead and see how this thing turns. Oh, what is that? Center cap popped off. Let's see, where does this go? So the turning is pretty blocky, but still overall very smooth. Oh, is that another center cap pop off? Oh man, I'm hoping we don't have another cube for you 3x3x7 center cap situation going on. But as I was saying, the turning is... So yeah, center cap pop off seemed like a pretty big issue. But anyways, the turning is pretty good for a shape mod. You really don't need anything extraordinarily amazing performing for a non-WCA puzzle, but I can tell that this should be a pretty difficult shape mod, at least for me personally, just because there's really not much that helps you differentiate which pieces are which. So I guess we'll just go ahead and scramble this thing up. Let's see how it looks. And so yeah, I think that's about it. Definitely a very big jumble. But oh man, I don't even know where I would start, honestly. It just looks like such a huge mess. But yeah, I'll play around with it, I'll figure it out. But for the most part, definitely seems like a very fun puzzle. Alright, so getting into some of these more recent SpeedCubes, this is the 2017 revamp of the Dayan Zhanchi. And yes, I have seen videos of this, I've read a lot about it, and apparently it's not good, but being such an avid Dayan fan, I had to get it just to at least try out. And so let's go ahead and get into this and see just how terrible it is. So yeah, definitely a very 2017 look. We've got squared off corners, rounded centers and edges, and these are some actually pretty okay looking new shades from Dayan. And so their latest 3x3 release was actually the Dayan Panchu, which was just terrible. But yeah, let's just go ahead and see what they felt was like an upgraded Dayan Zhanchi. Oh wow, definitely very unstable. It's very floppy feeling, but either way, the feeling is actually immediately reminding me of the Shengshou Yun. It has that same kind of friction track sort of feeling. I'm sure that doesn't really make sense to any of you guys, but it really feels like a mix of the GTS2 and Meiying. It has a sort of scratchy, crispy feeling to it, but at the same time, it actually is pretty smooth too. But yeah, I can see why people were really disappointed with this. Definitely not anything better than the original Zhanchi. Let's go ahead and look at the mechanism. I'm sure it has quite a few similarities. But yeah, this edge is definitely very much like the Zhanchi, of course, but it's just more rounded off. They rounded off this part here, and then also the base of it right there. As for the corners, yeah, we've got some tracks here, so definitely very much like the GTS in that aspect. Squared off corners, and then we also have got some tracks at the bottom of the corner base right there. And so I can definitely see a lot of the aspects of the original Zhanchi still, but whatever they did to this cube, like all the added tracks and whatever they felt was necessary in order to revamp this cube, it definitely wasn't very successful. It's just very floppy, very unstable, and even now just turning it like this, if it's so mediocre performing, during solves it's not going to be especially great, albeit it is extremely loose. So you know what, maybe after I set it up it'll get better, but I definitely didn't intend for this to be super good. I just wanted to get this to complete my Dayan 3x3 collection, because I do have the entire set of the Dayan 3x3s, including the Taiyan, so you know, I couldn't go without getting the more recent Dayan 3x3. But yeah, out of the box, not a especially good cube. The only reason why I think you would want to get this is if you're a Dayan collector or a huge fan of 3x3s. But yeah, besides that, not a very good SpeedCube to get. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out some of these newer SpeedCubes. This one is Cubing Classroom's new Square-1. And so I went ahead and got it in stickerless. Let's just go ahead and start with the turning. Wow, that is actually very smooth. There's a little bit of rattling actually. I think it's coming from this half of the slice here. But yeah, I'll figure out what that is later. But yeah, this actually turns surprisingly well. Cubing Classroom is a subsidiary brand of Moyu, but yeah, this turns surprisingly well. The last budget Square-1 I tried was the YJ Guanlong Square-1, and that thing was just complete garbage. It just popped every turn. It was, even at its tightest tensions, it was just not very good. And this one, I can definitely tell it has a lot more potential. The slice is just so buttery smooth. The layers are completely smooth too, and they're actually pretty fast. And honestly, the turning is actually quite a bit better than even the Weilong Square-1. The Weilong Square-1 was just extremely sluggish. I wasn't a huge fan of it. And this one seems like it's a lot better than that. And so let's go ahead and check out the corner cutting. It doesn't do as much as the original QiYi Square-1 does, but it does do quite a bit more than the Weilong Square-1. So yeah, wow, definitely a very, very good first attempt at Square-1 from Cubing Classroom. And so if you're getting into Square-1 or you're just not really sure if you're gonna like the event, definitely an extremely good option. It turns extremely well, and it is a Cubing Classroom puzzle, so it's a budget cube. It's gonna be priced very well. But yeah, certainly seems like a very, very nice cube, and I don't know, maybe after I set it up, we'll see how it stacks up to the X-Man Volt or the QiYi Square-1. Alright, next up, this is the Yuxiao Pro M. And so the original Yuxiao Pro, I actually didn't especially like, but I didn't think it was bad. I never actually made a review or update video on that puzzle, but my main problem with it was that it was just catching quite a bit, and so I'm hoping the magnets in this version fix that problem. But we have the cube, we have a clear stand, we've got some Team Moyu cards here, a screwdriver, and then I believe under this little plastic case should be some spare magnets. So yeah, there we go, we've got some magnets there, and also these tensioning tools. So yeah, let's just go ahead and check out the actual cube. Alright, so here it is, and it looks like Moyu actually changed up their stickerless shades. Yeah, you can kind of see that the blue is a little bit darker along with the red. Yellow seems a bit more saturated too, but other than that, the shades are pretty much the same. So turning. The magnets are definitely not especially noticeable. It's only when you're turning it slowly like this where you can actually feel the slight attraction between the magnets, but just turning it as if you were solving it and just doing algorithms, it's not going to give off that distinct magnetic click. And so if you're looking for something like that, I definitely wouldn't recommend getting this. In that case, I would actually recommend getting the mass-produced Moyu GTS2M. That one definitely has a more tactile feeling to it, but the full extent of the stability that the magnets provide is definitely still there. I can tell that the stability is there, the controllability factor is present, and one of the problems that I did have with the Yuxiao Pro was the catching. And right now I can definitely tell that the magnets are definitely minimizing that issue. I'm not really getting too much catching, but I will have to set this cube up and see how it is, because another problem I did have was also the sluggishness with the Yuxiao Pro after setting it up. And so I did wipe out the lube out of my other Yuxiao Pro to try to speed it up, but it wasn't too fast, but it was still not up to any speed that I wanted it to be. So I have heard that switching the springs to the original Yuxiao springs makes it better. So I'll have to try that out someday, but yeah, this one definitely feels very nice, just the pure turning out of the box. But I also have to just set it up and see how it turns out in an actual solving situation. But overall, definitely a very, very nice cube out of the box. Alright, so getting into the last cube, the WuHua version 2 6x6. And so my current main is actually the Cosmic Yushin Red M. Before that, it was the stickerless WuHua version 1, but my only problem with it was its size. It was just a little bit too big, it was kind of sluggish, and nothing that I could do to it really made it any better or faster. So I'm excited to see how this is. Let's go ahead and go right into the turning. Outer layers are a little bit sluggish, but wow, it's definitely a lot faster. Very nice, buttery smooth feeling to it. Yeah, everything just glides so easily. Wow, all these layers feel just phenomenal. Everything just feels really nice. And so one of the problems that I did have with the WuHua version 1 was that it was just way too slow, and I mean, no amount of solves that I did to it could speed it up at all, and Yeah, when turning these second inner layers, the pieces just lock up so easily. I'm not really sure if it's my tensions. I did mess around with those quite a bit, and nothing that I really did could minimize all the locking issues that I had. Yeah, so this one definitely feels a little less stable than this version 2. Let me try forcing the second layers. Yeah, so it's not really locking up as easily as this version 1, and I am forcing the turns on this one too, so that is pretty surprising. This one definitely seems a lot more stable and more reliable than the V1. Yeah, and this one just overall feels so much slower. Yeah, outer layers are definitely faster on this one, it seems like. Yeah, but this one is pretty broken in, so even considering that, it is just so much slower than this version 2, and it just overall just doesn't seem as reliable as the version 2. But one of the reasons that I do prefer the Yushin Red over the WuHua is because of its size. The WuHua is just a little bit bigger, but I'll have to see how I adapt to it and see how it fits in my hands during solves. But the performance is pretty amazing out of the box compared to the version 1, or at least for my WuHua version 1. So I'll see how it is after some setting up, after some solves, but out of the box, a lot of potential. Alright, so here are all the things that we have in this order. Definitely some very amazing performing cubes. I'll have to set up this Yuxiao Pro M and see how it turns out, but out of the box, the turning is very, very nice. Cubing class from Square-1, oh man, this thing is good. For a budget Square-1, it's just phenomenal, and I personally think it is a lot better than the Weilang Square-1. So if you're not really sure if you're gonna be into the event, definitely try this one out. It's a budget cube and it performs just phenomenally. WuHua version 2, this one I was actually pretty surprised by because from the things that I've heard, it wasn't actually that good. But trying it out for myself, it is surprisingly nice. And of course, as soon as I say that, there's a lockup. But compared to my version 1, it's just so much better, a lot more reliable. And I'll definitely have to see how it compares to my Cosmic Yushin Red M. And you can see I went ahead and fixed up this YJ puzzle star. I did have to eventually look up a picture in order to figure out where the pieces went. So for me personally, it was a little bit of a challenge to solve it, but it is fairly straightforward once you have that down. It's just 3x3 shape mod. And I did have a little bit of a problem with the center caps popping off. It's definitely not a frequently occurring problem, but it happens. So just know that if you're gonna get this puzzle. But I mean, it's a star, it looks cool, so definitely a very fun one to have. Dayan Zhanchi 2017, oh boy. I mean, what is going on with you, Dayan? This one, the Panchi, just huge flops. So, I mean, I don't know, just take your time, don't rush anything. I feel like this one was just a little bit too rushed to release. I mean, I get that they're trying to modernize their cubes, but just take your time, Dayan. We're waiting. We're waiting for a comeback. So yeah, if you're an avid Dayan collector, that is really the only reason why I would recommend getting it, but otherwise, not a very good speed cube, honestly. Shengshou Sujie, certainly not a good performing speed cube, but I just wanted it for its nostalgic feeling and just something to have in order to practice accuracy with, because I do think we're pretty spoiled with all these new speed cubes we have nowadays, magnets and everything, so it's refreshing to play around with these kind of older cubes. But anyways, that is about it for this unboxing. Definitely let me know which cubes you want to see updates on first, but I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.